when Anna told me she wanted peace. She said it with that soft, trembling sincerity that always disarmed me. We were standing in the kitchen of our apartment in Gdansk, the February wind scraping against the window panes like an animal trying to claw its way inside. The Baltic winters had a way of hollowing the light out of everything, but that day felt especially dim. "Peace," she whispered. "For myself, for us, I need space to breathe." I believed her. God, I believed everything. It wasn't until 2 nights later, long after she'd left to stay with her sister, that her old phone, the one she'd traded in weeks before, slid off the top shelf of our shared wardrobe and clattered onto the parquet floor. The screen was cracked, but it still lit up when I pressed the button. Notifications bloomed like bruises. One of them was an audio file, saved with no title, no date, just a string of numbers. I should have stopped there, but I didn't. When I pressed play, the first thing I heard was her voice, but not the voice that whispered she wanted peace. This one was sharp, almost gleeful. "Don't worry, he'll never see it coming," she said. And then came a small laugh, one I didn't recognize. "He trusts me too much. That's the beauty of it." There was another voice, a man's, calm, smooth, controlled. "As long as you get the signatures, everything else will follow. The property, the accounts. Your father will finally have what he deserves." My blood froze. Her father, who hadn't spoken a kind word to me since the day Anna and I married. Her father, who saw me as nothing but an outsider, some middle-class nobody who dared think himself worthy of his daughter, who told me once, after too many glasses of Zubrovka, that blood was thicker than vows and that families never let outsiders take what belongs to them. The recording ended abruptly, mid-sentence. The silence that followed felt like a second betrayal. I replayed it again, and again, and again, until every syllable seemed burned into me like a brand. "She wanted peace," she said, but the recording told a very different story. I didn't confront her immediately. Revenge, when brewed too quickly, tastes cheap. My grandfather taught me that. He was a fisherman who spent his life waiting for tides, for storms, for seasons to turn. "The sea rewards those who wait," he used to say. "Only the impatient drown." So I waited. I watched. I listened. Her family came from wealth, old Polish money tied to land and steel plants. Anna, the second daughter of the Swiatek family empire, was always their favorite. Polished, educated, elegant. Too elegant for me, her father insisted. It had always been a mystery why she chose me. Now I suspected the truth. She chose me because I was useful, because I was easy to manipulate, because I had inherited land from my mother when she died. A scenic property near the Kashubian lakes that developers had been eyeing for years. Land her family wanted. Land she promised them. Land she would take once I signed it over for our future. Every memory flipped like pages rewritten with fresh ink. Every affection tinted with deceit. But betrayal wasn't the only thing the recording revealed. It revealed possibility, a path, a way. I began where any betrayed man would. I followed her. She wasn't staying with her sister in Sopot. I knew Sopot too well. The wooden pier, the cafes that smelled of cardamom, the winter beaches littered with seaweed. Her sister was vacationing in Zakopane for the season. Instead, Anna was staying at a discreet boutique hotel in Oliwa, the kind with private entrances and thick curtains. I saw her one evening through the glass facade of the lobby, hair swept back, wearing the red coat I bought her for our 3rd anniversary. She laughed at something the receptionist said. She hadn't laughed like that with me in months. I watched her for days. She met her father in underground parking lots, exchanged envelopes with men in tailored coats, and took calls on a phone I didn't recognize. I recorded everything: times, places, faces. I kept my distance. I let her think I was still the naive husband, grieving the slow erosion of a marriage. Inside, though? Inside, something sharpened each day, honed by winter air and wounded pride. Revenge is never spontaneous. It is carved. And I carved mine meticulously. First, I visited her sister Marta in Zakopane. The mountains rose like frozen sentinels, their peaks dusted with snow that glowed pink at sunrise. Marta was the least venomous of the Swiatecs, perhaps because the family considered her too gentle, too artistic, too soft. She opened the door and embraced me instantly. "You look thinner," she murmured. "Anna told us you two were taking some time apart. I'm sorry. I know this must be hard." Her compassion nearly shattered me. But compassion could be useful. Over tea, I told her a carefully crafted version of the truth. That Anna was distant, secretive, unstable. That I was worried. That I feared she was being pressured by her father into something harmful. Marta's face paled. She'd always been wary of their father's influence. "Be careful," she said. "Papa gets what he wants, and Anna always bends to him, even when it destroys her." It was then she told me something that sealed everything. Before our marriage, Anna had been engaged to a man from her father's business circle, a merger disguised as romance. She ended it abruptly to marry me instead. But according to Marta, their father never forgave her. He told her she owed him, that someday she'd have to fix what she broke. So all this, the marriage, the smiles, the promises, was part of her debt. I left the mountains with that knowledge burning in my chest. Anna wasn't acting alone. Her betrayal was generational. And so my revenge would be, too. I returned to Gdansk with a plan that unfolded like winter frost. Quiet, creeping, impossible to stop once it began. I contacted an old friend, Carol, who worked in real estate law. I told him I suspected someone wanted to claim my land unjustly. He helped me draft a series of documents, counterclaims, hidden clauses, and legal traps that ensured anyone attempting to transfer ownership without my explicit in-person signature would walk straight into a labyrinth of litigation. Then I forged a small lie. I told Anna I had reconsidered, that I wanted peace, too, that maybe signing over partial rights to the land would ease the tension between me and her family. Her replies came cautious at first, then increasingly eager. A meeting was arranged. She suggested her father be present for support. Perfect. We met in her father's office, a cold, modern space overlooking the Motlawa River, with walls lined in stainless steel and framed displays of mining awards. Anna looked composed. Too composed, even as her eyes flickered with triumph she could barely contain. Her father greeted me with a thin smile. "It seems you've come to your senses." "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I'm just tired of fighting." He didn't hear the double meaning. They presented the documents, polished, professional, predatory. I pretended to skim them, though I'd already memorized every clause. "Where do I sign?" I asked softly. Anna's breath caught in subtle anticipation. Her father pushed the pen across the table. I lifted it, poised, paused, then set the pen down. "No," I said. The silence was instant, heavy. "What do you mean, no?" her father asked. I pulled out my phone, pressed play. The recording filled the room. Anna's laughter, her father's instructions, their plotting. Her face drained of color. Her father's jaw clenched so tightly I thought his teeth might shatter. "You bugged her phone?" he spat. "I found what she forgot to hide." Anna lunged forward, eyes wild. "It's not what you think." "Don't," I said. "Not now." I turned to her father. "Do you know the law around coerced asset transfer? Because I do, and so does my lawyer." He blinked. "My lawyer?" I nodded slowly. "I've been building a case for weeks. Everything you've said, everyone you've met, every pressure you applied to Anna." Anna gasped. "You followed me." "You betrayed me," I answered. Her father stood, pointing a trembling finger at me. "You think you can fight us? You, alone?" "Oh, I'm not fighting," I said, rising. "I'm letting you destroy yourselves." I slid a folder onto the table. Inside were the counter documents, legal snares her father couldn't escape, and a second phone holding hours of recordings. "If anything happens to me," I said calmly, "these go to the authorities, the press, and your competition. Your empire collapses overnight." Her father's face twisted into something feral. "You're making a mistake," he growled. "No," I said. "I'm correcting one." I left them there, father and daughter, allies in betrayal, now trapped in the ruins of their scheme. Anna came to our apartment that night. She was shaking. "Please," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt you." "Didn't you?" I asked. "Or didn't you think I'd find out?" Tears blurred her mascara. "It was my father. He forced me." "No," I said. "You chose this. Maybe not the beginning, but eventually, you chose." She sank to the floor, sobbing. I walked past her, opened the door, and stared into the cold hallway. "Leave the keys," I said. My voice was calm, hollow, irreversible. She placed them on the table with trembling hands. "Will you ever forgive me?" she whispered. I looked at her for a long time. "No," I said. "But I won't destroy you either. You'll do that on your own." She swallowed a cry. Then she left, her footsteps echoing like a fading heartbeat. Months passed. Spring arrived, hesitant at first, then bold. The Kashubian lakes thawed, glittering under sunlight. I spent days there, repairing the old cottage on my land, repainting walls, replacing window frames, breathing air untouched by lies. Marta visited once. She apologized for her family, though she owed me nothing. She brought pierogi and warm words. She stayed by the lake until dusk, talking softly about how betrayal doesn't define us, how healing is slow but steady, like the Polish seasons. I didn't ask about Anna. I didn't need to. Some endings don't require witnessing. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the pine forest and the lake turned gold, I stood on the dock and let the wind wash over me. The revenge was complete, not loud, not violent, but quiet, patient, and precise. A reclamation, not a destruction. Anna wanted peace, but she forgot that peace built on lies cannot hold. However, I built mine on truth, and truth, like the Baltic tide, always returns.